मान देखो पंजाबी मुंडे जिवे खड़ी है चट्टान देखो साडी पहचान देखो चंगा मैदान देखो वो के समय बैरी किन्ने ने हैरान देखो
Your mama's home, we can bring it, we ain't got no shame.
There's a price to pay. Time for you to get down on your knees and pray. You say goodbye to the good old days. They're never coming back. Watch a few I came to play. Get my dues paid. I guess you had a dream, but it
what's up? Stand up and say what's up. People over there, what's up? Feel me, stand up and say what's up. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You can get with this, or you can get with that. You better get with this, cause this is where it's at.
in the dark, I feel at home. Time has passed and now I've grown. Used to dream I'd have it all. Now it's mine, I won't let go. In the dark, I feel at home. I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world. Come on, bring it on. What I say better, what should I do? Better you know that I'm here to get you. If you ever doubted me, you don't have a clue. I'm here to show the world. I'm here.
Here we go. And hello everybody, welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. My name is EJ. Alongside with me is my partner in crime today, D-Shep. Now, here we are. This is the first episode that we're going to be doing from now on is where we're going to, on Tuesdays, we're going to review Raw. Wednesdays, we're going to do SmackDown. And here we are, the first episode. Well, today, it's a little different. We're going to cover a pay-per-view plus Monday Night Raw last night. We'll probably do that with every Monday after a pay-per-view, where we'll cover a pay-per-view, then Monday Night Raw. Other episodes, we'll do special segments, along with covering Monday Night Raw like we normally do, like the best of the best tournament, and things of that sort, you know. Other ideas that we'll come up with along the way. Before we get into it, man, real quick, I got a question for you, D-Shep. What was your first, what was your expectations going into this weekend?
Very low expectations, with the exception of NXT, obviously, because we all knew that was going to be fire. But between Hall of Fame and Mania, I was not expecting much, and I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't, blown away over the top, but I thoroughly enjoyed Saturday and Sunday night a lot more than I expected to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, NXT TakeOver, without a doubt. You knew it was going to be a lit show. Especially that 2 out of 3 falls. Even though you kind of knew the outcome of the tag team titles, come on. Let's face it, they were not going to go up to the main roster with the tag titles, so.
No.
But Velveteen Dream match, Matt Riddle, really good match. The 4-way women's title match, really good. Another thing that wasn't WWE related was the G1 Supercard at MSG Saturday night. Holy fuck. I got a website for you. You got to watch that. Great show. At some points, it was kind of up there with Mania. It could have went either way. It was that good of a card. And they had a historic triple threat match, ladder match for the Ring of Honor title. Very reminiscent of the WrestleMania 10 match. Really good. I'm telling you. If you guys haven't caught that, I know we're not supposed to promote like websites that, you know, show content for free, but watchwrestling.in if you don't want to get New Japan World and watch that card. It was incredible. And then, of course, WrestleMania, my expectations were you know what? It's a good card. Let's see if they follow through well with it. And we'll get into that right now. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to cover only the main card. We're going to cover the main card. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a rating from 1 to 5 stars, and then we're going to give a brief description of what we liked. Because if we go deep in any of these, we could go all day with it. So let's go pretty brief with it, and then we could cover Monday Night Raw. A lot of people very upset with Monday Night Raw, but we'll see how it goes. So basically, Gargano is unbeatable, right? I thought it was a good match and deserving. Oh, hold on, reconnecting. I don't know if that was from my end. Let's see. There's a poor network connection. Is that from my end? Oh, there we go. All right, we're back.
The stream's spinning for me.
Yeah, that was my... That was shitty Comcast on my end. All right, so we're going to start with the main lower card matches all the way up to, obviously, the 3 main titles. First, Intercontinental Championship. Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, but you didn't get Finn Balor. You got the Demon Finn Balor. Obviously, the victory, Finn Balor regained the title, beating Bobby Lashley pretty quickly. 1 to 5 stars. What would you get it? And was there anything? What was your quick take on that match?
This was, shuffled right about in the middle of the program.
Yeah.
And this kind of started a little stretch where about 2-3 matches in a row felt kind of rushed for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was disappointing, but the action itself is about what you expected. Pretty much expected the Demon to win. I think it would have benefited Lashley a gazillion times more if he was able to get the win, but
I'm with you on that.
It is what it is. I'd say it's a middle of the pack kind of situation because of timing and just finish that we expected. So a 3 for me.
All right. I'm actually going to go lower. 2.5, and it was lucky to even get that. And I don't like to be very critical, but this one was like, they could have done so much more with that. I'm with you on that. It probably would have got
one
easy.
Other side comment I want to throw on that match without getting too deep into it. What the fuck was with the green contacts for Bobby Lashley? What was that?
To psych out the demon. That's all that
Yeah.
was.
That made
Basically it. I don't
that
know.
Pretty much made Lashley look from a badass to just a dumbass.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with you on that.
That was a horrible look. Like,
Yeah.
don't ever do that again.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, if he would have won, and if they would have allowed more time for them to tell a story, because it was too quick. Before you know it, it was a squash match. I understand that. But you got to still allow some sort of good amount of time to tell the story. A squash match, especially to that
It
magnitude,
don't do anybody favors.
it doesn't do anyone favors. So that's why I'm very critical of that. Like I said, I don't like to be that guy, and we'll talk about that because Sami Zayn criticized people like us on Monday Night Raw, but we'll get into that later on. So
Sami
that's
Zayn's GOAT, though, so he can say whatever.
yeah, 2.5. That's what I give it. And I know we're going to probably give this a low rating, but I understand why this one was short, and that was the United States title. Samoa Joe, the champion, defending the title against Rey Mysterio. I feel if Rey Mysterio wasn't hurt, I think they would have had a good match.
Absolutely.
And I think he would have came out the victor, and probably would have got the title. He probably would have dropped the title immediately, maybe a week or two, or even the next pay-per-view. But it sucks because he hurt his ankle last Tuesday on SmackDown. With that, they still went along as planned, but it was very short. But I liked it. I'll give it a 3, and I'll tell you why. It seems hypocritical because I bashed the Lashley Finn Balor, but this one was a different circumstance. But in the process, it made Samoa Joe stronger. It made him look stronger. For a while, he was losing a lot of matches. He gained the U.S. title. You don't want your U.S. champion. He dropped a match in the Gauntlet match, too, as the U.S. champion. But here he is, got a big, quick victory against a legend like Rey Mysterio. Again, knowing what happened, I understand. But I still give it a 3 rating because of that. And you can kill me on that. So, what is your rating, and what's your quick take?
I'm not going to kill you on it. I get it. I don't believe in grading it, though, on what it could have been. I think, obviously, this is a 4, potentially 5 match if both guys are healthy, obviously. But I'm going to go against the grain, and I don't think it does jack shit for Samoa Joe. And the only reason I say that is if we did not know about the Rey injury. And for his part, what he was out there for, Rey looked pretty good, considering. So he sucked it up big time. So what I'm saying is, if they didn't publicly acknowledge the injury and he came out there exactly the same way he did, and then Samoa Joe squashed him the way he did, I think that would have done just amazing things for Samoa Joe. But the problem is we knew Rey was hobbled, so how much are we going to give that credit to? I could see why you went the way you did. I'm not saying that's even wrong, but for me personally, I couldn't get that wrapped around that it's that great for Samoa Joe.
Well, yeah, it's funny that you said that because at the end when he got caught in that Cortina clutch, you saw what the maneuver he did in the corner when he landed. You saw him wincing. It's like you knew, okay, you know he's hurt. You know he's definitely hurt. But he roughed it up, you know.
You got to give Rey credit.
Yeah.
Showing.
Yeah, no, I give him credit.
I feel so bad. After he was gone for so long, his first Mania match back, and that happened.
Yeah.
And the man has not been barely back on the roster for 6 months. And here we go again. Rey Mysterio is hurt. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny because another guy that has awful luck right now was Mustafa Ali. Ali freaking took that really bad fall in the Rumble. But, yeah, even though we weren't going to cover that, but you talk about bad luck.
That had to hurt.
Oh, yeah, it
when
definitely
he
did.
Popped back up and hit that corner of that table. Oh, I went so hard. I felt so horrible.
Oh, yeah, I definitely did too. I felt bad.
I mean, just the thumping off the floor was bad enough.
And hitting the head on the...
You literally practically bounce and go head first into the corner of anything. It's going to hurt.
Yeah, it
Let
is.
alone to them, you know, we're going to acknowledge this part later in the Batista Triple H thing, I'm sure. But them tables weren't your normal announce tables. Let's just say that. Because they didn't want to break very easily. So I think they were beefed up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that had to hurt even more.
Yeah, Kevin Jones says Ali tweeted out and said he was okay. Yeah, he did like
I
it.
doubt that.
No, he said he did have a series of tweets, but I knew there was
No,
like
no,
at
no,
the moment.
There's no way that he's 100% okay.
I don't think he.
Taking a
Yeah,
shot to the head like that. There's no way. He probably tweeted that out, and there was a lot of adrenaline still flowing. But let's see how he's doing if he's on SmackDown tonight.
yeah, we'll see. And with the concussion protocol that they have, he probably won't compete right away. I guess we'll see.
I can't imagine we see him tonight.
Oh, we'll find out. All right, let's go on to the next match. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championships were on the line. It was a fatal four-way. Bayley and Sasha defend their titles against Natalya and Beth Phoenix, Facebreaker and Tamina, and then, of course, the Iconics. We both pretty much got this right on the prediction. The Iconics came out victorious and captured the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. I thought it was a pretty good match. The one thing I never liked, I kind of wish it was a tornado tag. I don't get the fatal four-way where you have two people in and you're going to tag someone that could potentially win the match and you're not in the ring to do anything about it. I wish
if you're not going to tornado tag, then
that's the only thing that. But for what it was a pretty entertaining match. Of course, you did see the botches from certain people that we cover on almost every episode. But overall, Iconics came out on top. Kudos to them. Well deserved. I'll tell you it now. I'm going to give that match a solid 3. It would have been more if you would have took those botches away from Facebreaker and Tamina. You have anything?
Oh, I thought you were still talking.
Oh, no.
I heard you say the thing about Tamina, and then you stopped, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah, no, it's okay.
I was okay with this for the most part, but the thing I want to acknowledge is, like Adam Jones kind of alluded to, it just seems like Nia and even Tamina get taken out of these multi-women matches so easily, and then they're gone for them for so long, so all these other ones can hit their spots in that. And I get that everybody's got to hit their spots, but it just feels weird that the strongest team is the one that spends the most time, laying outside on the floor. That's weird for me. And for 2, this whole botch stuff with the women's division now, and we're going to talk about the main event later. I know.
Yeah.
But in Ronda's defense, I'm not even going to get into the broken hand thing that probably played a role in it. But what I don't understand is on Twitter, you'll hear Ronda, every little single thing she does slightly sideways, everybody on Twitter just blasting the living hell out of it. And that's probably part, having a bigger name than Sasha Banks and all the other ones. But it just seems like you'll see 1 or 2 comments if one of these other women botch. But Ronda, they just go all in on for every. And Ronda's botches aren't even as bad as the other women's botches. That's the funny part.
Like Tamina and Nia? Yeah.
It's so astonishing that everybody else's botches could be an 8 or a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, and Ronda's could be down at a 2, and Ronda catches so much heat for her little botches.
You know why?
No, I said because she's the bigger name in that. That's my opinion on that. But at the end of the day, if you could just sit back and you could block out all the botchiness and you can block out the fact that Nia Jax is basically treated like Big Show was his whole career of always being the biggest but never coming off that way. It was a solid match that I would give a 3. A lot better than I thought the match was going to be. I thought there was going to be even more botches, and I didn't think I was going to be that into the action. The only thing I'll add at the end of it is that I just wish I wish predictions we were wrong more often, because then you can say, man, the unexpected happened. But when the expected happens, like I told my wife right before the ending of the match, I said, with the way this is going, Beth and Natty, one of the two is going to hit a big fucking move. They're going to get shoved out of the ring, and the Iconics are going to do the pin. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I just don't like it when wrestling is that predictable.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that, but I also liked how they won the match because it's a heel move. And they're not baby faces, so I love how they won it. But yeah, when it's predictable, because we kind of all thought the same thing, that they were going to win the match. And it is what it is. But overall, if you take it probably would have been a higher rating, but it was still entertaining to me. And that's why I give it a 3. And I'm being fair right there by giving it a 3. But
I didn't expect to give it a 3. I thought this was going to be a 1 or a 2 all day.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because when you got to me and
that
Nia,
part was the least unexpected.
Yeah, when you got to me and Nia involved, I thought it was going to just be a shit fest, but it obviously turned out to be a really good match. All right, here we go. We're going into the next match. Randy Orton going up against AJ Styles. Man, it was a pretty good build. It only took a couple promos of going back and forth, but it was enough to sell us to be invested in this match, and rightfully so. I mean, it went pretty good. It was at least 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It did its job, but of course, who came out on top? That man. I will give it a solid 3.5. And knowing that AJ Styles got hurt, man, that sucks. Because we're not going to get a follow-up to this. I was thinking possibly a follow. Hopefully it isn't a long-term thing that he could possibly get a follow-up match between these two. But, I mean, it was an incredible match. I enjoyed it all the way through. How did you feel about the match?
The match itself, I was good. I completely agree with you, 3.5. For me, if Randy Orton had won, I would have gave it a 4, to be honest. Because, oh my God, I was treating this as a number 1 contenders match.
Yeah.
And if you knew you were going to put the belt on Kofi, oh my God, the magic they could have went back on of all them old Raws 10 years ago with Kofi and Orton, I think that would have been an epically amazing feud. Maybe that feud could still happen now if AJ is out and we don't get that follow-up like you said. But I was only complaint on that match was that Orton wasn't the winner.
What's that?
I said only problem I had with that whole match was that Orton didn't win.
Oh, okay. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Again, it was a great match, and there was nothing but pride on the line, and it still turned out to be a really good classic match. All right, so the next match we're going to cover is the Shane McMahon Miz match. It was a Falls Count Anywhere. Of course, they started when Shane McMahon turned on the Miz at Fastlane after the tag team match with the Usos. He attacked his father, and here we are going into the match, and I'll tell you right now, my expectations for this match, even though I was invested with the promo and all, I didn't expect too much. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be like an match. Man, was I wrong. In my opinion, I thought it told a really good story. And getting the father involved and the real weird freaking stance. He looked like Virgil about the box. I don't know if if you got that reference. But yeah, that was hilarious. But overall, I mean, even the ending was great. People complain about the ending. It's like, no, that's a great ending. It got heat on Shane even more. Because here he is. Miz suplexes him off that camera platform into the, safety area.
That was a great suplex from that high up, too. They landed as good as they could land.
Yep, and Shane got the victory. I'm going to give you my first 4 rating of the night.
You know what? I'm going to go completely crazy. I'm going to go with my first 5 rating. This,
really?
To me,
trying to outdo me, you son of a bitch.
In all honesty, this was as perfect as you could do this. It really was. Can you pick any point during that match, just the match itself, where you're like, and that was off?
No. I was surprised.
I can't do that. If I could at least think of something, like I was struggling, looking for a reason to not like it, I didn't see one thing. Even the shit where after he put his hands up looking retarded, and then Shane grabbed his hands and put them in a proper position, that was funny too. Like, this hit on every scenario. I was expecting about a middle of the pack kind of match here, about a 3, but I was blown away, and I don't see anything that was off.
My only complaint now is too soon in the card. That's my only thing. But I understand. You got to have your highs and lows throughout a 7-hour show. And, man, when I was watching, I was like, wow. It was actually pretty good. Get Up Jones and chat on Twitch. And for people that listen to this on podcast form, we are live 11 a.m. on Tuesdays for Raw, Wednesdays for SmackDown on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, and Periscope under the name Go Home Wrestling Show. And while reading chat, Get Him Jones says, great storytelling. Is Shane the only person that could have got Miz that over as a face?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm with you on that. And when
I
you
wasn't with that a month ago, but after what we've seen this last month, absolutely.
Yeah. And if
I
there's
was wrong.
And if there was a guy that, will want to get the guy over and do whatever it takes, it's a guy that has, that's a higher up, that knows what they want, and also is a competitor on occasion themselves. So,
Let's also give a little respect to Shane. This isn't by far his first heel run, but let's give him credit from the standpoint, this is his first solo heel run.
The other one was the
Anytime
corporation.
he's ever been a heel before has been with Vince or Steph. So let's give him credit for holding his own as a heel. He's done surprisingly amazing, almost to the point where you could see him possibly someday down the road take over the character of Mr. McMahon and be the new Mr. McMahon.
I could see it happening. You got Triple H with his thing, and then you got Shane that could pretty much be Mr. McMahon 2.0. I could definitely see it. And it would be good because
I could see him someday coming out to Vince's music and calling himself the new Mr. McMahon.
Like the new Daniel Bryan. I like that. That would be awesome to see. Well, we'll see where they go from there. All right, here's another match that I had actually high expectations for. You're going to be surprised with my rating. Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns. Of course, this is the first match Roman Reigns, first big match since coming back from battling leukemia. Drew McIntyre, I was hoping was in a better position at this point, but putting in the match with Roman Reigns, there was a pretty good, decent build. It was a pretty good build going into this match. I was invested. I was ready to go. Had high expectations for this match. The execution, I didn't think was good. Too short. Didn't build enough. I hate to say this. I'm giving it a 2.5. It just did nothing for me. And
I can't even go that high.
Wow, you're going lower.
Yeah. I'm going with a 2.
Yeah?
1, it was obviously way too short.
2,
it is abundantly clear that you rushed Roman Reigns back because you could just see the stamina is not there. And then 3, and the most important reason I'm not a fan of it, is because Roman won after the whole match. He looks gassed as all get out, and he was the guy you picked to win. And him winning that while being gassed did absolutely nothing for Roman Reigns.
No.
To the point that after Raw segment went off the air, there's clear cut he was getting booed out the building. Just want to throw that out there.
I was going to tell you that. I was just going to bring that up, that he got even booed coming out to the ring at WrestleMania.
I think it's partly because the WrestleMania match went so bad. That's why they kept Roman and Drew off the show. Well, not Drew, but just the whole, usually after a feud, there's a close-in segment.
A final confrontation. Yeah.
There's something. Some kind of there was none of that.
Nope.
And then you keep Roman off the show until that little fruity ass thing they did after the show, which is another side story for another time probably. But it was clear that it put Roman above everybody else again, and it's clear that less than a month after returning, the fans, like predicted, are already starting to turn on him.
And I feel they should have turned him heel.
And I don't think they would have turned on Roman this quick if they just had Drew win.
Sympathy.
They didn't get no sympathy.
That's
though.
why. No, I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. It's a sympathy angle. That's what you got to do. And maybe you set up a summer.
I can't believe they had no win. I really don't.
It could have been
Drew
easy.
had all the momentum in the fucking world.
Yep. After the 2 brutal matches with Dean Ambrose.
So he can beat, just a couple weeks ago, Dean Ambrose, a couple weeks in a row, within an inch of his life, basically. He could beat the now Universal Champion, but he can't beat a month returned Roman Reigns in his first singles match? Really? Nah. Not a fan.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that either. All right. Well, let's move along to the next match. And, Get 'em Jones says, yeah, skip this match. I don't blame you. All right, the next match, here we go. Kurt Angle's retirement match. His final match in the WWE. I think so. Going up against Baron Corbin. I got to say, another short match, and we know why. But they did their job. I agree with it as far as why they had him win. The fact we all said this last week on the show, last Friday, about why they should do this. But as far as the match,
how you wish Roman and Drew turned out.
Yeah, I give it a 2.5 though because of the length. Because I mean, let's be honest, this is not the same Kurt Angle that you saw go up against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania X9. We had to take it at face value, but overall, they did their job by getting Corbin heat. They needed to do that. And we'll talk about it when we cover on Raw later on in the show. They did their job. How do you feel about it?
If I'm grading just the match itself, I'm going to give it a 2.5 right along with you. I can't really take away from the match where my complaint is. My complaint is after the match. And the send-off was fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's walking back up the ramp. I was a tad disappointed that wasn't when John Cena appeared, or at least some other kind of legend or legends come out and congratulate him and get like 1 or 2 legends on each side of Angle, hold his arms off and give him that proper send-off. Kind of like the send-off they did after that Triple H Undertaker match with Shawn as the ref, where the 3 of them after the match were all holding each other's arms off.
Yeah.
I expected something like that, so I was a bit disappointed about that. But other than that, it was about what you expected, and the right guy won.
Well, if they were to do that kind of moment, like here, he raised his arm and then attacked him after that, would you be okay with it? I would have liked that even more, because he'd be like, oh, he's going to be clear. Oh, no. But again, you saw it the other way around the next night. Of course, we'll get into that when we cover Raw. All right, next match is the no-holds-barred match. I hate that term. Between Triple H and Batista. If Triple H loses, he must retire from in-ring competition. And it was beautifully built through promos. Of course, the initial one with Batista attacking Ric Flair at the 70th birthday party. Everything was great up to where the bell rang. And that was enough for me. I wasn't into it. I completely took me out. Man, I was like this, and by the end of the match, I was done. This is my first shit one. I'm going to give it a 1. That's all I'm going to say.
It was doomed from the start, and no fault of his own. Shit happens. Like, we literally seen, who was that homeboy? Oh, Sami Zayn last night wipe out the way he did.
Yeah.
That was great, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But this match was doomed from the start with Batista tripping the way he did. It really...
Yeah.
It took about 5 to 10 minutes into the match until I could get behind Batista again as like a legitimate threat in the match. It was an accident. Shit happens. I feel bad for Batista because I think it was just a fluke type Titus O'Neil situation. It happened, but you were talking about a 100% serious blood fucking feud match, and you can't have that kind of funny moment right at the beginning. It killed the start of it.
Yeah.
Then after that, the match picked up. It was actually fairly good. I was thinking, okay, we're heading towards like 3 or 4 possibly. But then
It died
the
out.
last 30 seconds of the match, we've made it a big ordeal how he beat up a 70-year-old man to start off this feud. And I said to my wife, the moment I seen the second sledgehammer when he got the first one out, I was like, Flair's going to come out and hand him that other sledgehammer later. I know it's coming. And the fact is, you made such a big fucking deal about beating up a 70-year-old man, but then you needed that same 70-year-old man to beat Batista. So it knocked it for me. I was heading towards a 4 almost. I was getting there. I was jacked. And back to 2.5. That you killed your whole build off the feud, which was amazing. Like, I've never seen a build so beautifully done to then have such a shit match. Like, no words after that. That's pretty much all I got.
All right. Well, the one thing I will say, I kind of liked it because he wanted revenge, Rick, and he wanted to make sure he got it. I understand that spot. Get Him Jones says it was just a spot. Hey, what's up here, dude, on Mixer? Welcome. It was just a spot fest. That's all it was. And, again, great story told going into it. I think the execution, it missed. And the one thing I will say that's positive about this is that Batista actually did look good for a guy that was out of the ring for 5 fucking years.
Oh, he looked amazing.
That's the
after
only
that
positive.
First couple minutes.
Yep. Yeah, I think he did fine, considering that. And he did retire, and, I mean, wish him the best. And he did a lot of good things in the company over the years, but he also quit twice. So, all right, let's move along. WWE Championship. Oh, the match I was most excited for. You could be surprised about my take. Oh, sorry about that. I heard something. Batista deserved a better send-off. No, he did his job. He was retiring. I'm responding to chat, of course. Beer Dude said Batista deserved a better send-off. He did right for the business. That's what he did. If you're retiring, you do right for the business. Same thing Kurt Angle did. He did his job. Kudos to him. He wasn't selfish on this one.
Because had Batista won, everybody would have just wanted more Batista then. There was no win situation here.
Yep.
Batista wanted a one-off match, and that's exactly what he got. Had he had won, he would have been bombarded with more appearances, more matches, and that's not what Batista wanted. So Batista, as the promo said, he got what he wanted.
Heard Randy Orton's retiring. Well, that remains to be seen. If that happens, he had a legendary career. Of course, someone in the chat.
Fuck you hear that?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Let's move along into the WWE title match. I was really excited about this, but you're going to be actually surprised by my take, though. Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston had an incredible match in the Gauntlet match. Had an incredible ending at the Elimination Chamber. WrestleMania match was the worst of the 3 encounters. It just seemed like the importance of this match might have got to the both of them. It seemed that they weren't clicking. They didn't have that chemistry that they had back in Elimination Chamber and back in that Gauntlet match. But the story was there. They still told a great story. But the thing is, even though they did have quite a few mess ups in that match, it didn't seem like they had a chemistry going as far as, doing the in-ring stuff. It's also a good thing because you don't want it too choreographed. I mean, you want some fuck-ups because you wanted to make it believable. Because name any fight or any boxing fight where it's perfect without any mess-ups. They don't miss at all. So, I get that, and that's why I would still give this my second 4 rating. Because the story was there. People were there. They were on his side. It was the sympathy angle. Daniel Bryan did his job to get the heat in that match. They still told a great story. The emotion was there. And Kofi Kingston, new WWE champion. I give it a 4 rating because it told a great story. It would have been a 5 if the chemistry wasn't a little messed up there. But again, you don't want a 2 choreographs, so that's why I'm not dropping it below a 4. There you go. What do you got for it?
I'm right there along with you, a 4. To make another analogy, it's like going to the ocean in California on a bright, sunny degree day, but the water is choppy.
Yeah.
And that's what this match was. It was choppy at points, but the storytelling was amazing. The stare downs, the interaction on the outside with Rowan and the other guys in New Day was about what you expected. At some point, I was a little surprised that nothing extra happened, like a run-in or, the guys getting all kicked out. I was kind of expecting something like that, but naturally not disappointed that it didn't happen. I was much happier that they shied away from all the BS because it made the choppiness less annoying, that there wasn't all this side action stuff either. The interaction on the outside was just a little bit you needed sprinkled in, and it wasn't over the top. So right along with you, a 4. And we got the ending we wanted. So.
Oh, and someone in chat on Mixer, I was trying to get it, and it went up a little bit. As a black man, I loved it, but I know it was just about race, but it meant a lot. No, honestly, it was more than just race, beer dude. It was also the size thing, and we were going to talk about this, but Superstar Billy Graham made remarks about it, about size. Despite the fact that his argument was shit from the start, he was talking about the size and he should use steroids. He was okay with Daniel Bryan being champion, but Daniel Bryan is 5'10", 210. Kofi Kingston 6 foot and 212. So his argument went to shit there. We felt like it was race related on that one, and if he wants to be that way, let him be that way. I think it's a great thing for the black community, the African American community, however you want to say it. For to have a representative, a man that's a face of the company, a guy that deserved a shot years ago, and it was finally given his chance out of something that was built organically. And hold on, I think I might have to go upstairs real quick.
Why don't you answer me?
Jesus.
Yeah, I think that's and my kid don't answer.
Go out and give him an RKO out of nowhere.
Yep. I didn't like the story. That was much chemistry. It was too messed up for me. Well, yeah, could be that. But no, I think it was a good thing for Kofi, and I think he's a great representative. If you want a guy that champion at this point, if it isn't Lashley, it's this guy. The guy deserved it. Sorry that my point got messed up by that, but
It happens.
yeah. So that is my take, and we got anything else to add to that before we go on to the Universal title?
The only thing I would say is I'm not black. Don't claim to be. Can't understand it from that point of view. But just as an outsider looking at everything from the outside, I just feel like it was more Twitter and other outside avenues that made this whole situation more about race than WWE did.
Kofi.
I think WWE played off of it to a certain point when it came to how they scripted the promos. Absolutely, 100% on board with that.
Yeah.
But I just think, as a white man, I'd rather focus on the underappreciated side of Kofi winning the belt than the African American side. But I don't mean that to throw shade towards the community, because you all have your own beliefs, opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just me, as an outsider looking at it all, I just think it was the outside making more of a big deal about the race aspect of this feud.
Believe it or not, I listened to an interview on Busted Open with Kofi, and he kind of addressed that and said, yes, that had something to do with it. He said people like us, for your interpretation, whether it was size, race, and he goes, all that was included. How you interpret it is how you interpret it. He goes, and we meant, like, if you meant race, yes, we meant it that way.
And
if it was size, yes, we meant it.
Interpret it differently.
It's like art, yeah.
No matter what race you are, you're going to have different I can't say it
Interpretation. Yeah.
right. You're going to have different. I can't say it again. Fuck. You're just going to have different beliefs.
Yeah.
Each individual, even if you did a poll on 10 white people and then 10 black people, each individual is going to have their different opinion on it, because that's what we are in the United States. We're a difference of opinions. That's going to happen. It doesn't mean we should go on Twitter and bully other wrestling fans into believing it in the same way we do.
Yeah. Overall, he did his job. He deserved this. And it's not because of size, race, whatever. The man has put in his work. The man should have had this opportunity years ago. He got this opportunity out of a fluke. Thank you, Ali, for getting hurt, I guess. Because if that didn't happen, Kofi wouldn't be champion today. So kudos to him. He put on a hell of a match. The build to this was incredible. It was a better version than Daniel Bryan, okay, than 2014. This was perfect. I literally, I was so happy for him when he won. I was like, I was shocked that they pulled it off, and I was like, I sat back, I was like, dude, this is awesome. Good for him. He deserved this.
Absolutely.
And I still saw that look from Big E. He had that look again. I don't know why. I'm just throwing that out there. So let's leave that. We'll go on to the Universal title. Game Man, we'll talk about the Bret Hart thing real quick later on in the show. No problem. All right, here we go. The Universal title. Dude, shocking turn of events. If it wasn't going to be main event, it's going to be the first match of the card. Now, what was my prediction? I was saying the WWE title. If you were going to give it to Kofi Kingston, and I'll pull up that clip for tomorrow's show if you want. If you were to give the title to Kofi Kingston, it would have been great, because you didn't think for a second Universal title would be the first match on the card. You would think it would be later on, possibly, next to the main event. But I was like, if you were going to give Kofi Kingston the title, if you want that good moment, it had to be the first match. Unfortunately, it wasn't the first match. It was the Universal title. Brock Lesnar champion, the absentee champion, putting his title on the line against Seth Rollins. They did their job. And Seth Rollins, after a low blow and 3 curb stomps, comes out victorious and is the new WWE Universal Champion. And I'll tell you right now, for the relatively short match, it didn't develop to the way I wanted to. It could have went longer, I felt, but this is Brock Lesnar. But for the shock of turn of events and all that, if you add that with the match and the result, I give it a 3. Okay? I was shocked that they made that first. That was awesome that they made it first. Overall, it was great for me. I give it a 3.
I'm going to surprise you with this one a little bit. I'm going to be so over the top happy with this that you're just going to be shocked. I'm going 5A plus, and further as far as you want to go. Just for the simple fact, if this match happened the exact way it did, and it was later in the card, not the same reaction. Not by a long shot, but just you take every ounce of this into consideration on the fly. Awesome decision. Not telling Hogan that Heyman was coming out. Fucking beautiful. The look on Hogan's face when Heyman came throwing out, I don't think I'll ever forget that. And then you have the match go down the way it did. Was by far, I'm not going to say it was the greatest wrestling first match of Mania ever, but this was the hottest opening match of WrestleMania ever.
You changed my opinion. Wow.
Hottest, because no one seen that coming. And being that it was a quick match, because the fans were literally still screaming because they were shocked. And next thing you know, you're already celebrating the title win. And you're like, they never even cooled down from the hot start, which is why I'm going to say this was like beyond anything you could have done with this match. Yeah, you could have had a more solid wrestling match further down the card, and they could have beat up each other 15, 20 minutes. Brock could have hit like 5 F5s. Seth could have kicked out of each one. We've seen that for months and months and months. We didn't need to see that shit again. We didn't need to see a dozen German suplexes again. We know Suplex City. We've been there enough. This was perfect. You want to talk about artist, portrait, all that stuff? You could not have done this situation any better, in my personal opinion.
Fuck, you changed my opinion. God damn it. All right, you changed me. All right. I'm going to stick with my rating, but you changed my opinion. I thought of it. I try to think of an opening match should be like a Bret Hart, Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10. But
the only possible thing that could have made this any hotter was that if there was some Money in the Bank cash-in on the first match of WrestleMania, then you could have been like, But same thing, you would have had about a 5-minute match after the cash-in, and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So this was beautiful. No one saw it coming. The attack at the beginning was amazing because I was like, shit, the bell never rang. We all thought at that point they were going to eventually stretch their Seth out, and then later on the card, Seth was going to come out and have his match and probably still win.
Yeah.
We did not expect the match. When he bitched for the bell to be run the first time and the ref didn't do it. I'm like, fuck, there's no way this match is happening now. Nobody thought it was happening after that.
No.
But then he bitched and moaned for the second time to ring the bell. And when he rang the bell, I was floored. I was like, the man hasn't even stood up on his own yet, and you're ringing the bell. But then the perfect thing with the ref getting hit, and then the low blow.
Yeah.
And let's just say this for that ref situation. I do want to add on. That was the quickest turnaround I have ever seen in my life for a ref getting knocked down, fall literally out on the ring, and that was the quickest jump back up reaction to get back in the ring for the eventual pinfall.
Well, why do you think they're in better shape now, sir? They're all buff.
I understand that, but that blew my mind how quickly the referee got back in the ring. That was unexpected. Wasn't that part even unexpected in itself?
Yeah, it was.
How quickly he got back in. So this was beautiful.
Okay. Well, going on that point with the referee, if he was to get knocked down for a long period of time, any other time, and then that goes right out the window. You shit on that.
Yep.
All right. Of course, let's go into it real quick because we're really 45 minutes in. We didn't even cover Raw yet. Well, let's go with the main event, the triple threat, winner take all, women's title, Charlotte, Becky, Ronda. Real quick, rating, and what did you like or dislike?
I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. Just simply because there was a few botches. You can't just ignore that.
No.
Even though you don't think it's really necessarily anybody's fault in particular, botches happen.
Yeah,
we
they
all
do.
realize that. But you can't bat 1,000. You're not going to get 100% on every test, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if Ronda legitimately did break her hand, which I am still unsure of, by the way, but for her to gut that out afterwards and basically not show any sign but a couple times going like this, trying to shake it back into feeling, I mean, enough with the Ronda hate. And give her some goddamn respect, because you know what? For her part in that, for Charlotte's part in that, and especially Becky's part in it, what more did you want from the match? Because the build sucked. We all agree with that.
I definitely do.
The match was exactly the match that we wanted to see. So at the end of the day, 4 out of 5 for me.
I'm with you on that. Same rating, 4 out of 5. The ending kind of killed it for me. I'm wondering if it was too long of a match because there wasn't much of a pop one, or it was the unexpected. I talked to a couple people that were at the show that have other podcasts like Talkmania, and they said it was hardly reaction because people were shocked like how it ended. Real quick question: do you feel that bad ending might cost them a chance at main event anytime soon?
No. And
no?
it shouldn't.
Okay. That's all I wanted.
I think it was just a fluke situation where, if anything, you know who I'm going to blame on that situation? I'm going to blame the referee. And I'm going to tell you why.
Why is that?
That was obviously the finish, right?
Yeah.
So no one was planned to kick out of that situation, right? If you watch that replay in slow motion, you'll realize the whole shoulder coming up thing, that happened before the ref made his 1 count. Those shoulders weren't down until the referee counted 2. So in my personal opinion, looking at that, I think the ref jumped down a tad too quick and started that count a tad too quick. It wasn't a fast count by any stretch of the imagination. It was a normal, everyday count. But it started before those shoulders were down. And I said to my wife, I was like, how's that a – wait, what? That, if anything, that should be a 2 count because he started the count before her shoulders were down. People wanted to make the whole ordeal like, oh, my God, her shoulder came up and it shouldn't have been a 3. That isn't when – the shoulder did not come up between the 2 and the 3 count. The shoulders were both up before the 1 clock. So if anything, I would just say that the start of the count happened a bit too quickly. I am not going to blame Ronda or Becky for that finish whatsoever. And if their future singles match gets punished because of that finish, that's complete, utter bullshit.
All right. All right, well, overall, we covered all the events. That's 2 quick questions, and then we'll go into the Raw review.
Yeah, and that's another side thing. The ref wasn't even in the right position to see the shoulder.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that in chat. Yeah, I didn't see that in chat. Good point there. All right, here we go. 2 quick questions. That's it, and then we'll go on to Raw. Which match did you think stole the show?
If you're going from the match that stole the show, I would say Miz and Shane. But if you're going with the best, like, wrestling match, I'm going to honestly go with the main event, to be honest, because it was the match you were just most into seeing. For me, I should say. But the match that stole the show was Miz and Shane because no one expected it to be that fire. That's why I'm going that way with stealing the show. I have
to say this, Kofi and Bryan. Despite the little hiccups, but again, you don't want it too choreographed, but the investment was there, the pop was there, people were excited. That's why I'm going with Kofi and Bryan as the one that stole the show. We did a Twitter poll yesterday, and we're coming up on the results of that. I did want to get it on screen, but not in time. I forgot to do that. How would you rate last night's WrestleMania? And in the overwhelming with 50%, people went 4 stars. Some actually went with 5, 19%. 3%, 21% went with 3 stars, and 10% went with 2 stars and below. Now, I'm going to ask you, for 1 to 5, my friend, what would you rate WrestleMania overall?
A 4, because quite simply, I think all these matches practically went the way we expected them to go. They were solid for the most part in execution. There's only a few hiccups along the way. Okay,
I'm going to give it a 4. Overall, because, I mean, you had your great matches. You had the investment. One of the pre-show matches for me. Oh, okay. So you're going to go either. You're probably going with the Cruiserweight or Raw tag titles. It was a great show overall. I mean, it was a great stacked card. How could it not be less than a 4? And despite some of the matches are like too short and all that, but overall, way better than last year's, I think. I don't know your opinion on that. I saw last year's. It was really good. I think this year's was better. And it was definitely better than the year before. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I saw the one in 2017. That was bad. All right. Let's go right into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to cover Monday Night Raw. Of course, it's the Raw after Mania at the Barclays Center last night. And we're not going to cover what happened in the beginning of the show until later on in our review of Monday Night Raw, because it goes all together with the main event. The first thing we're going to talk about real quick, and it's going to be real quick, Baron Corbin celebrating his victory for beating Kurt Angle. Now, I know a lot of people are, why are you going to cover Baron Corbin? The guy's a great heel. He did his job going out there, stirring up the fans, talking his shit, basking in his glory. He got the victory over the Olympic gold medalist. He gave pretty much he was shit talking for a couple of minutes before Kurt Angle then came out to what he was we thought was to congratulate Corbin for his victory. He did the shake of the hands, raised it up, and next thing you know, throws him in an angle slam and right into an ankle lock. Then immediately after, Corbin retreats from the ring. We get a debut. Last year we had Lashley. This year we get Lars Sullivan. What does he do? Immediately attacks Kurt Angle, and then he leaves the ring just after the attack on Kurt Angle. I got to ask you this real quick. Like, what do you think of the debut? Like, last year we had Bobby Lashley. That was the big reveal. Sami Zayn, yeah, returned, but first debut on the main roster. Bobby Lashley was this year. What do you feel about Lars Sullivan beating the guy this year?
This was not the place for it. This whole situation was absolutely bona fide retarded.
All right.
First off, I just want to say, last Monday Night Raw, we had Kurt Angle's last Raw match, right?
Yeah.
And during that match, Corey Graves repeatedly said, "This is the last time you'll ever see Kurt Angle on Raw." I was fully expected Corbin to come out and brag the way he did. Absolutely beautiful. Love Corbin as a heel.
I do too.
I wanted to see the next Corbin feud get set up. You know, whether maybe that's where Sami Zayn came in. Obviously, they did something else. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I expected the next feud to kick off. And then you had Angle come out, do his move. Okay, fine. It is what it is. They lied about it being the last appearance, but whatever. But then the Lars thing. Like, what was the point of Angle putting the moves on Corbin there if you were just going to have Lars take him out anyway? So my only thing is, me personally, looking at the matches that were set up, looking for that spot where Lars would have been much more beneficial, honestly, I would have had Lars come out and beat up both Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins after the tag match.
Okay, well, that's your payment.
That's what I would have did.
Okay.
Because you wouldn't have had to do a feud with Lars and Ryder and Hawkins. So it could have just been a one-off attack, boom, done. Here's Lars, total badass. Yeah, you can argue about Kurt giving the rub to a guy on the way out.
Yeah, Gavin Jones said that in chat.
That's all fine and dandy.
Yeah.
If Kurt wasn't the one to do it, though, because they already made such a big deal about it being Kurt's last appearance on Raw last week. That's my only hiccup with it. But for Corbin's part, A+. Angle's part in all of this just seemed odd.
Okay.
And Lars, he's never going to be a champion.
Do you think it's going to be like another big show? Well, I'll tell you this. Yeah, come on. Would you see what they did with freaking Strowman, actually? Here's my take on this. I did like the way Lars came in. I did like it. Because what Gavin Jones said, it gave another guy the rub on the way out. And I think there's a reason for it. I have a feeling that you're going to see a little formation of a little faction. I think Baron Corbin kind of dropped Lashley and Drew McIntyre, and I think Lars might be the new guy that's going to be side by side with him. You're going to see something different out of Corbin in 2019. Now that
which would have then made my point with Riders and Hawkins that much better, because it could have been Lars and Corbin being the new Drew and Ziggler, kind of.
You could go with that, but it could be the start to that. But right now, they would just cap it off, like you said. You had the final send-off of this. I don't feel like, have a Kurt Angle on the show. I thought last week was his last time. No, you could have that final send-off. Shawn Michaels did it when he lost the Undertaker. I mean, anytime, like Ric Flair or anyone that had a retirement match.
But those are usually an in-ring promo. Those aren't usually an in-ring attack.
Well, again, it was a unique take. Instead of doing the talk, he did it that way. I kind of like the way they did it. I kind of like the debut. And again, to Gavin Jones' point is that, it was giving a rub to someone else. Kurt Angle's all about the business, man. And he did right for the business by allowing Baron Corbin to beat him at WrestleMania and then did what he did last night. I thought it was incredible for Kurt Angle. mostly on Kurt Angle's part. But
I
again,
would have
Baron
just
Corbin.
tested large and just had him debut on the 80,000 crowd the night before.
Well, Baron Corbin did his job for the most part. The guy is so fucking good at being a heel. And people got to understand and stop giving the guy crap, because I'll tell you, just like you give Ronda crap when it's not deserved, this guy doesn't deserve any crap, unless if it's the heat, that the things that you know he makes you hate him for, and not being critical of everything else. If you get what I'm saying.
No, everybody's just mainly critical on Corbin because they don't like his position in the company, and that's total other bullshit. Because one could argue right behind Drew McIntyre that Corbin is the top heel in the company right after Drew.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here we go. Let's move along. Because you got anything else, or we go for that one?
No, we're good.
All right, let's go right into the celebration for Becky Lynch. Celebration for her winning the main event the night before at WrestleMania. She is now the Raw and SmackDown Live Women's Champion. She came out and gave a great speech about how Becky and Charlotte bragged about their past. One's a UFC Hall of Famer, UFC champion, main evented a UFC pay-per-view. Charlotte winning all the titles that she has won in the time in the WWE. And they said that she brought nothing to the table in this triple threat match, meaning Becky, but Becky came out with both titles. I thought she did an incredible job explaining that whole thing. And, of course, calling out Ronda again, saying for a rematch. She called her out.
I like how she calls Ronda Ronnie.
Oh, I love that. I do love that.
That's amazing.
But, and I also like that she coined the phrase Becky Two Belts. I kind of like that, too. That was awesome. I will buy that shirt in a second. But, of course, you know, she gives a promo, and then she goes outside the ring, and then, lo and behold, Lacey Evans comes out and doing what she's been doing for the last 2 months. And we were thinking it was going to be the same as usual, but this time we were surprised. She hits the women's champion, and they brawl it out all over the ramp, ending perfectly. I thought it was a great segment. Great ending to a perfect segment. The thing that I was most impressed with in that segment was Lacey Evans fighting the way she was with fucking high heels.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much after the punch, to be honest. I just expected security to separate them or some shit. I didn't expect them to go toe-to-toe for about 2-3 minutes there.
What did you think of it? Did you like it?
Absolutely fantastic. I just want to add, at first, I was disappointed. I know we're going to talk about the beginning of Raw. I just want to add out, after everything started at the beginning of the Raw, I was a little disappointed after Kofi came out to confront Seth that we didn't have Becky come out there and strut and hold up her 2 titles and the 2 men have 1 each. I thought that would have been funny.
Yeah.
But I was 100% wrong, because what they ended up doing with Becky and then the Lacey stuff was absolutely fantastic, and I have 0 complaints whatsoever.
All right. And like I said, my take on that, to cap this off, wow, we're going to see an awesome program. Because, you know, even though they said Ronda's hand is broken, regardless, she was taking time off, you capped off the Charlotte-Becky feud, because that's been going on since SummerSlam of last August. So you needed a fresh angle, and man, if you're going to start it off that way, perfect. Right after Mania, the Raw after Mania, and unexpectedly started. And it was something simple as that might create a great summer program.
Weren't you kind of expecting some kind of situation to develop since Sasha and Bayley lost the tag titles, that we were going to get into some kind of tournament or one-off match where we were going to get a number 1 contender bullshit, and it was going to be the same old Bayley or Sasha or this or that or even Alexa? But the simple fact that it was Lacey Evans, of all people, was shocking, amazing, everything, all the above, just perfect.
Yeah, it was perfectly done. And the fact that, yeah, you're right, because they didn't do a number 1 contenders. I think they're really going to...
Green Earth expects Lacey to win the match. But
yeah.
What an awesome feud to kick off your main roster run.
And what better way? Because think of the pairing of these two. The Southern Belle, bringing class back into the women's division.
I love the whole gimmick.
Against the man. Woman that's like a Stone Cold type character. Complete opposites. You could build something simple, not overbook it, and it can be done perfectly. And they did it the right way by starting it off the way they did last night. I was thoroughly impressed with that. So, with that being said, Lacey punched her in the mouth. Yeah, I know. That was so funny. It looked like she really connected. It was really good.
It was a great punch.
All right. So,
Best debut punch ever.
yeah, I would say that.
Eh?
I would say that. All right, let's go right into it. So, we got Lacey Evans doing something finally. We had the debut of Lars Sullivan. Now we got the return of Sami Zayn, out after 8 months from double shoulder surgery. Here he is back in his first match since being on the shelf. Of course, he came out to reintroduce himself to the universe and then issued a challenge to anyone in the back that will be willing to face him. The new Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor came out, and they put the title on the line, which I thought was pretty cool. Of course, the night after Mania, you got your one title match. You already had the champion versus champion, but now you got an IC title on the line, too. They put on a great match, but of course, Balor gets the win with a coup de grace. After the match, a fed-up Sami Zayn revealed that he did not miss the fans. In fact, WWE is a toxic environment because of the fans and not the backstage. He said that everyone wants to be a critic, and beginning now, he is back to hold each and every one of the fans accountable for their actions, and then finishes it off with "See you in hell." What did you think of the match real quick, and what did you think of the post-match segment or the promo?
I'm going to go before match with this.
Already.
This whole situation, I feel so bad for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn literally every single time gets shitted on with these setups for feuds and promos and stuff like that. And he still somehow knocks them out of the park every fucking time. But I'm sitting there watching Raw, and they do the thing before the commercial break where they show him
I
walking
fucking
in the
hate
back.
that. Yeah, I hate that.
That you never do any kind of fucking return like that.
Nope.
That was stupid.
Yep.
Now, what you should have done is have Finn Balor come out, do an open challenge, and then you had Sami came out. That pop would have been 10 times louder. Maybe he wouldn't have tripped on that run out too. And you could have still did exactly everything else you did with the match itself. Great fucking match. Sami looked a little gassed towards the beginning of it, but he rebounded fairly well by the end of it. So for Sami's part, you got to give him props after 10 months, both shoulders. That wasn't easy, probably. But I just don't think they set him up for success yet again, because that works. If Balor calls out a random person come out, Sami comes out, that crowd would have went fucking ape shit. They still went, I'd say, halfway up on the ape shit meter. They were still happy to see Sami Zayn, but you spoiled it with the fucking theme right before commercial break. That was retarded. But the promo afterwards was probably one of the better Sami Zayn solo promos that wasn't directed at a fellow wrestler. It was just directed at the universe, and it wasn't the atypical kind of attack the fans like some of the heel promos are. This just felt like it had more meaning to Sami. Like he was saying stuff that some of us other fans had previously thought. So he knocked it out of the park. I just don't think they set him up for the best success in the world.
I'm with you on that, yeah, because the setup could have been different, but that could be a double-edged sword, because I like the way you came about that. Yeah, issuing an open challenge, he responds, that's great. But then you would have people that would go, oh, no, open challenge debut, another comeback or return from that. Simple as that. It would have been better than, oh, here, Sami Zayn's back. He'll be back in just after this break. I mean, I didn't get that either. I kind of like your way, but again, double-edged sword. People would have complained about that.
Another angle I want to throw at there, just because it was, we don't have to talk about it a lot, but the unadvertised return of Luke Harper for the Battle Royal was absolute trash, too.
Yeah. And
Same situation. You set him up for no success whatsoever. And Luke Harper is not as talented as Sami Zayn is, so Luke Harper is going to have a harder time getting a hot start upon his return than Sammy. Sammy's gold on the mic. He can go either way, face or heel. He's always going to be more successful, so he can dig out of a bad situation a lot easier than some of the other guys can.
Or like the other Bray, or the other Wyatt family member, Bray, you know, playing his Jeff Dunham character. We'll get into that another day. I'm not even going to... I'm sure we'll see enough vignettes before that, so we'll...
I have to admit, I laughed at Dead Dinosaur bit.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Yeah, well...
It wasn't like something like, oh, my God, that means Bray's coming back. I'm so excited. No, it was just an average, funny promo is all it was.
Yeah, the Jeff Dunham character will work well in 2019. All right, real quick, I want to comment on this, and then we'll go into the last thing, the Universal and WWE champion versus champion thing that happened on Raw. I did like the fact that he attacked, like, the way, how toxic the environment is on Twitter and all. I love that they're addressing that. And a lot of storylines that are perfect in real life, when real life is thrown into it. And this is another real life situation that's being thrown in. And that's the way to get, and for someone that is like critical like that, yes, we're critical, but you know what? We don't focus on all the negatives. We actually do a lot more positive on here than other shows. Because I've listened to other shows, and all they do is shit. They don't want to give any credit when credit is due. We're actually opposite. We'll be critical on things, and then we'll be positive about things. But way to get more heat is to address the people that shit on you and shit on the product on a minute basis. Not even a daily, a minutely basis. I do love that.
Absolutely.
So I would love to see where that goes going into the summer. And real quick, just name one person. Who would you like to see him in the program going into the summer?
Sami Zayn, you mean?
Yeah. Who would I say?
Oh, I had a thought last night, and I already brain farted it. Oh, my God, I can't remember.
I'm going to go with Finn Balor. That'd be a great first feud. It can be done.
I had a perfect guy in mind last night, but I already forgot.
Never mind. That's fine. That's okay. It's okay. I'm going to go with Finn Balor. I think it would be a great first program for the IC title. It will keep him out in the spotlight. I mean, if you want to do right for him, like you said, if you want to do right, put him in a program for IC title would be good enough right there. And you can do something simple. It doesn't have to be overbooked. Just a simple storyline. There you go. Or get him, Jones says, take the title from Finn. Yeah. Potentially throw him in that spot for the Universal title. All right. Moving along. Universal Champion versus WWE Champion. Man.
Do we have to?
Yes, we're going to talk about the build and the excitement to ultimately being let down. In the beginning of the show, Seth Rollins came out to address the WWE Universe since beating Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship back at WrestleMania. He didn't get far into his speech before being interrupted by the WWE Champion. Kingston said that he was watching the winner-take-all match the night before and saw how well that worked for Becky Lynch, so he decided to challenge Rollins to a champion for a champion match. Rollins accepted the challenge, and here we are at the end of the night. Everyone was anticipating. They were promoting it throughout the show. We were all excited about this. You had your champion versus champion, winner-take-all. It was a good match up to the point where the Bar came in and interrupted, attacking both guys, making it a no contest. Then they go into a tag match, which I would say was pretty entertaining. They did a good job. Of course, the two champions get the victory after Kofi nails Cesaro with the Trouble in Paradise, allowing Seth Rollins to hit the curb stomp for the victory. I mean, the setup was great. It was perfect. I want to get your take throughout the course of the night. From the start, how'd you feel when you first saw, like, oh shit, champion versus champion, all the way to what we saw at the end? What's your take?
The promo itself, I was absolutely thrilled with.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can't believe they're gonna do this the night after Mania. But then I remember telling my wife, it is the Raw after Mania, and they do big things. Then the very first fucking commercial break! Kofi title celebration on SmackDown. The internet exploded because they were like, no DQ, no DQ. It's going to be DQ, whatever, double DQ, whatever you want to call it. It just exploded on Twitter for about an hour.
Yep.
But then it turned on Twitter because they were like, who's going to come out to cause it? It's going to be Undisputed Era. It's because it's the Raw after Mania. The Raw after Mania crowd loves this shit. When a brand new faction debuts, it's going to be fucking amazing. And then the bar came out. We all thought that it was going to be Undisputed Era.
Yep.
I mean, Cole lost the match to Gargano. So we were like, here we go. It's perfect. Instead, we're going to get a very mellow and boring Undisputed Era type thing, or individuals are going to get drafted on the, shake-up thing or whatever. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You already killed their debut before it even happened. I'm not even going to talk about the brief 5-10 minutes of action in the singles match between Kofi and Seth, besides to say, yeah, okay, it was all right. Whatever, move on. The tag match, fucking retarded. I don't care. I'm not even, a couple good moves and sure, a bunch of that. But then nothing happened. When was the last Raw after Mania that you sat down and watched where something amazing did not happen at the end? That's what this... If this was a normal Raw, if this was atypical Raw, you're going to give it a solid 3 or 4 because that was by those standards. It's a different set of standards when it comes to the Raw after Mania. And that fucking ending that they did was so beyond trash. I did not see one fan support any decision when it came to Kofi and Seth the entire night on Twitter. It was just backlash, backlash, backlash. And then I just want to sprinkle in a little fucking thing. Speaking of backlash, you know that little pay-per-view that used to happen the month after Mania because it was backlash from the Mania feud? Instead, we're getting Money in the Bank
a month early.
What? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. For the first 2/3 of Raw, besides the commercial break situation, let's throw that aside. The first 2/3 of Raw was a solid 4 out of 5 for me. But that last half hour was a 0.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Well, I'm going to address this one thing. As far as the pay-per-view, it's because you got that Saudi Arabia show the first week of May, and then a couple weeks later.
Yeah, that's why we've seen Undertaker also, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
That was fucking great.
Yeah, I think him and Elias were going to be a match, and I actually will be excited for that one. I did like that segment. We didn't talk about it, but
that segment, it blew everybody's mind. That's when you got... You were a little mad about that commercial break situation with the title celebration thing.
Yeah.
And the Undertaker thing kind of quiets you down for a little bit.
Yep.
That was, and Undertaker looked amazing. You could tell he lost a solid 20 pounds plus. Mm-hmm. He looked amazing.
Well, to go on with how I felt, like at the beginning of the night, believe it or not, when he came out and challenged him for the title, first thing I thought was, oh, goodbye, brand split. Why are you going to do the Superstar Shakeup? It's over. It's over.
Yeah, and I thought Kofi was going to lose.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, fuck, they're not going to have Seth lose. How the fuck is he going to lose? First thing I thought was goodbye, brand split. That was what they're going to do. Superstar Shakeup wasn't even going to happen. Okay? Obviously, I was wrong from moment one, but I don't know. For something he told me, I was like, oh, God, please don't kill the brand. I think it's good that they do that. And I said last week when we were talking about it on Friday that they should, if you're going to do the Superstar Shakeup, do it twice a year then. If you're worried about, superstars, Raw's doing bad in ratings, let's bring someone over. Well, guess what? You have 2 opportunities to do it right after Mania, and then once in the fall for the the fall season, which is like the great time for any new shows that appear and all. So that was my first thought. I was excited for it. I thought we were going to be in a great match, and yes, I did think too. Okay, if they're not going to have any titles change hands, who's going to interrupt? I thought about that, and this is why if you look on our Twitter, it goes silent after 8 p.m. because I'm at work, so I don't check. I don't check anything until I watch it. I don't want that element of surprise being taken away from me. So I knew nothing of what was going to happen until I watched it this morning. And when I saw that the challenge, I was excited for it. Then you go into the match. And it was a great match. I was having fun watching it. It was a great match between them two. I think it showcased them perfectly in that short amount of time. And I thought, who was going to be the team to, or anyone, who was going to be the person that interrupts? At first, I thought Big E. I was thinking, if they're going to split them up, why not then Raw after? This is the time. 2, Undisputed Era. I did think about that. What else does Undisputed Era have to prove at this point at the NXT level? They did all they had to do. Yes, Adam Cole didn't win the world title or NXT title, so big fucking deal. He could come up and do it on the main roster. There's plenty of people that been moved up and didn't even have a chance at the NXT title. Just saying. Finally, you get to the match. You have it, and then yes, the bar, because they had a little feud with the New Day in the past. That's where you go. That's where I was like, what the fuck, really? You took a great opportunity. People were hyped. People were loving it. You could have come up with a better finish than the fucking Bar. Nothing against the Bar. Great tag team. I think they should go over to Raw. I agree with Get 'em Jones. They need some talent from SmackDown to come over to Raw to rebuild that tag team division. But they weren't the right guys to interrupt that match. They could have done something way better than that. I think they got lazy on that one, in my opinion.
I would go so far to say is the Bar's not even the right team to send over in the shakeup to help the Raw Tag Team division either.
Who do you think it should be then, real quick?
Usos all day.
Okay, I agree with that.
I think you flip it.
Yeah, you got enough good talent.
I mean, if I had my number one choice, it would have just been Undisputed Era, and then that sends the Joe in your tag team division. But if not that, then I would almost see a scenario where you can just transfer the whole New Day to Raw and Seth over to SmackDown. I could see that as a viable option too. I don't know where they're going to go with all this, but I'm at the point where a week ago I wasn't that into the whole shakeup idea. Now I'm realizing how desperately Raw needs a jolt.
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown don't really need it. SmackDown's always going to be SmackDown, in my opinion. I think SmackDown, you can interchange the parts as much as you want, and it's still going to be amazing SmackDown, so to speak. But Raw needs something right now. And if that's something they get, it's the Bar, and that's your headline, that better not be the case.
All right. Yeah, I didn't like the bait and switch. And you know what? I don't know if you noticed this. People were chanting AEW the moment that happened. They were trying to drown the crowd out because all of a sudden...
Wait, you know what? Since you brought that up real quick, I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Them 2 shots they took to AEW on Saturday night were hilarious, but at the same time, you looked at them like, y'all never mentioned TNA all these years. And you're going to mention AEW before they've even had a TV deal?
Try to bury them before they do it.
Oh, that means they're threatening.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Like, that was blatantly obvious with the Triple H joke, and then especially the Shawn theme with the All In.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it was funny to watch, but at the same time, you're like, they really threatened by them already?
Yeah, because Vince McMahon's worth $3.2 billion. The Khan family, they're worth close to $7 billion. Just saying, they got more money, and they got a lot more to offer. I honestly feel it. I think they already have a TV deal in place. I don't think they'll mention it until the pay-per-view, because you wouldn't have got Jericho and all them if there wasn't a TV deal in place.
Yeah,
to be honest.
You had to subsidize that income from somewhere.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Yeah. But overall, like I said, I understand that was a frustrating moment for the fans. It's like you were offered opportunity, but you went the lazy way out, and then you got to follow up with a tag team match, even though it was good. I'm not taking it away. That was actually a pretty good tag team match. It just did it really need to be put in there?
But based on who was in the match, nobody wanted to see it. So the action could have been, completely flawless. Yeah. And I still don't think it would have went off right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, as far as who, because usually what happens, you get an established possible summer program for both champions. I guess they're trying to figure that out. That's probably why they went the way they went. I like your thing, Randy Orton and him revisit that 10 years later. Now Kofi's the champion, challenging against Randy Orton. That's pretty cool. And then I don't know what they would do as far as Seth Rollins, but I guess we'll see it in time. But all right, now we're done covering Raw. We're at the point of the show where we do the conclusion. How would you rate Raw after Mania from 1 to 5 overall? Go ahead.
If I'm going with this as a normal Raw, I would give it honestly a 4.
Okay.
But as a after Mania Raw, I can't go higher than 2.5. It just was an utter disappointment from how these shows have built the standards that they have through the years. Even the crowd itself was the worst Raw after Mania crowd that I've ever heard. At one point, they did the wave once, and there was a beach ball, I think, one other time.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the only noteworthy thing. Although there was one random chant, I forget against who, about halfway through the show, I want to say, that I couldn't completely understand. But relatively, that was a bad crowd, too.
All right. Well, apparently I lost the stream, and we're back up. Okay.
Yeah, it went up and down on my screen a couple times, too, but it's back up.
Fucking Comcast sucks. I actually give it a 3 based on, you got it. It is the Raw after Mania, and I'm with you. If it was a normal Raw, it would be a 4. That ending did take away from me. I love the Lacey Evans spot. I actually did like the Ryder and Hawkins tag team match. There was a lot of things there, but the ending.
The Undertaker spot was awesome.
You know what? I take it back. 3.5. I'll give it 3.5. Not just to outdo it. I think it deserves that at least. The ending killed it.
I just think you get 2 points. 2 full points deducted from me just with the Kofi Celebration commercial.
Yeah.
And it's not that you made the mistake and aired it once, but then you kept airing it throughout the night. I seen that at least 4 or 5 times. Like, that was bad.
Yeah.
So you lose 2 points just from that, and then you lose the other half point because you didn't have fucking Undisputed Era at the end, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Well, we came to the end of the show. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Ryder Hawkins, B-Team Part 2. Gavin Jones says, that's what you said last Friday. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. for the SmackDown. It won't be as long. I feel we went a little long because it was the pay-per-view and Raw review. I know the next pay-per-view won't be as long, as many matches, so we'll go through it quickly. So we'll be back tomorrow for SmackDown review, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, for people that are listening to this right now on or watching us right now, if you can't catch us live, we will release both parts on a podcast form Wednesday nights. We're on Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean now, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts, we're on there under the Go Home Wrestling Show. Then you can follow us on Twitter when we're not live. I'm under Go Home Wrestling. He's under DShep1979. Do we have anything else to say before we go off the air, my friend?
No. Just a little bit of a disappointing, but otherwise a good WrestleMania weekend.
All right. Yeah, it definitely was. And I'm telling you now, people, please check out the G1 Supercard. If you go to watchwrestling.in, if you wanted to catch it, without going to New Japan World. That was probably one of my favorite cards of the weekend. A little bit more than TakeOver, I would say. I enjoyed it more than that. All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for everyone that tuned in, and we'll see you tomorrow for the SmackDown Live review. Later, everybody.